Hello everyone, thank you for coming to my video. My name is Daniela. If you haven't watched my other videos, they're just about nursing school and what to expect through different things throughout nursing school. So go ahead and check those out if you haven't. If you can see, I have a little person under here, so just ignore him. This video is about how to stay organized throughout nursing school, plus some study tips. So, my first piece of advice for organization and studying in nursing school is to make a to-do list on the little stickies on your desktop on your laptop. That is assuming if you have a MacBook Air or whatever, a Mac in general. Not everyone has that, so I guess that's just specific for that. But I'm not somebody who uses actual planners. I just never get them out. I think I'm just lazy, or I get really obsessive with how something's underlined or like the coloring of it, and it's just too much and it wastes time for me, and then I never end up using them anyway. So I like to use the little my laptop's sitting right here. I like to use the little stickies on my desktop just so I can write to do, and then I write the class, write the assignment, whatever it is I need to do, and then I can like use a cross out font, or like I write done next to it a lot of the time so I know that I've completed it. That really helped me stay organized through school. One semester I was really bad with that and I didn't really use it, and I relied on my best friend a lot of the time to tell me, hey, this is due. Or it'd be like 11:30 at night. She'd be like, hey, you got this done, right? It's due at midnight. And I'd be like, oh shit, I'm not even home. So it's really important to stay organized like that. If you work better with a planner, use a planner. But that's my biggest piece of advice for that specifically, because my program was all online, so I had to really stay focused with that. And I think that's why all of that worked, like on the desktop on my little stickies, because most of my program was online, so I was always on my computer. So that kind of leads me into my next point. When I said that my best friend kind of told me every assignment for that semester, don't rely on your friends like that, but I would have a group chat with them just to make sure everyone is staying on task and to help keep each other accountable. Because sometimes you are organized, but you might miss something and you obviously don't realize it, and just having your close group of friends like that will really help you make sure you get stuff done. I kind of touched on this, and I think it was maybe my first video, is to know what way of studying is best for you. So I did say this in my first video, but I'll keep it brief. My med-surg class, I worked best by reading the whole thing, highlighting whatever I thought necessary, doing PowerPoints, discussion posts, questions. But then after I felt like I knew it, I would go to Starbucks for hours on end, and one of our classmates who was a paramedic previously would teach us everything. And it would just like replay everything that I had already learned, and it just helped me learn better because I was repeating that stuff over and over. But for OB, my other class, well, obviously I had other classes, but I'm just thinking of that one in particular. I would only read, do the study guide, and do practice questions. That class, I just didn't feel like I needed other people's help. I just grasped it well enough to where I felt like confident on my own, and I didn't really need to do all those little meetups with other people. And for peds, like, we only needed to do the study guide, so I wasn't going to spend all my time reading the book if I didn't need to. So that one was nice because I only filled out the study guide and studied that, and that was it. And that's what I mean by it's really important by knowing how you study best, because you don't want to study the wrong way for a class, because that's going to really set you up for failure. And it is hard to figure out which way is best, but the sooner you figure that out, the more successful you will be. And I, again, said this in my first video, but sometimes you think like you want to make all your friends by doing study groups together, and yeah, that's nice. That's how I made a lot of my friends, but if you're not successful that way, it's not worth it. So this one might not work for everybody, but in my situation, the way my classes were set up and were online, that's how it worked best for me. But I did a lot of my homework backwards, And what I mean by this is a lot of the time when you're studying or you have exams you need to study for, you think, okay, let me get all my homework done, and as soon as my homework is done, then I will start studying. But when I would do that, that would just lead to further procrastination, and then I would cram, and then I wouldn't do very well on my exams. So what I would do was try to study as much as I could before like a regular assignment was due. So a lot of my assignments were due on Wednesdays. So let's say if I was able to start studying for an exam Monday, then I would study Monday and Tuesday or part of Tuesday. And then anything that was due Wednesday, I would do it on Wednesday if it was like a short discussion post, or I would do it Tuesday. Like if I had a paper due Saturday, I would try to do it like Thursday or Friday or Saturday right before it was due. As long as that meant I would be getting my studying done before that, that's all that mattered to me, because our homework didn't even account into our exam scores until you had passed the class, meaning we had to get a 77 average on all of our exams. So I could have done all my homework, been the best student, all the super long discussion posts with all the best references, blah blah blah, could have done all that, but I could have been not even averaging a 77 on my exams, and then none of that homework would have mattered. So for me, the studying for the exams is so much more important than obviously the homework is important, but and I don't mean half-ass it, but just make studying your first priority. And if that means doing the studying first, then do it first. Okay, my next point is to take a break only when you need it. So maybe I just hit so much harder on this because I was in an accelerated program. But I know everybody always says oh, come out with me tonight, or let's just go on a quick weekend trip. You're not going to be able to study if you just, if you never stop. You have to take a break, which is true, but it's hard to explain. So I would give myself few hour long increments to stop studying. I wouldn't give myself, there is never ever a time where I gave myself a whole day not to study. Hell to the nah. It had to be only a few hour increments, because I could never even have fun doing something if I knew I had so much studying to do. So it's not even worth it at that point. When you know you need to study, get it done. If that means you haven't seen your friends for months, so if they're your friends, they'll understand. But don't just go out one night, get plastered, and be like, well, I needed that. No, girl, you did not need it. I mean, it probably was really fun, but if you fail your exam, it's not even worth it. So, and I learned that from experience a few times. So, what I mean is just, you'll know yourself better than someone else will know you. If you know that you haven't studied well enough, don't go out. If you've studied and you really just do need a mental break, go out for dinner. I would, if I was going to take a break, that meant going to church, going out to dinner, doing a face mask, watching a movie, doing some sort of different activity to keep my mind off of studying for a few hours, and then I would come back to it. So just, everyone will say you need to take a break. You do, but don't be stupid with it. This last point is probably the most important one I will give, and I wish I would have listened to myself with this tip way earlier on in nursing school, and that is to put your phone away. So, I said this in my last video, I think, but our age, probably if you're watching this, you're close to my age, about to turn 24, blah, blah, blah. We're very used to being on our phones all the time. That really gets in the way of studying, even if you really might not realize it. So I would be sitting on the couch and reading my med-surg book, which, oh my God, for me, nothing can be more boring than reading a med-surg book from cover to cover. And that's what I did. That's how I had to study for that class. Anyway, so I would read my med-surg book, and I'd be like, oh my God, I just finished a whole page. I deserve to look at my phone. 2 hours later, I come back to my book and I, lost all what I was already reading. I have to reread what I already read because I don't even remember. And, oh, it's 1 in the morning. I need to go to sleep. So just put your phone away. Put it in another room. Put it on the charger. Something, don't let yourself look at it. What I would like to do is set an alarm for like an hour or two and know that I couldn't go look at my phone until that alarm had gone off. Chances are an emergency is not going to happen. So if you're thinking that, just stop. I mean, if an emergency does happen, my bad. Just ignore that I said that. But an emergency, chances aren't going to happen. So just put your phone away. Another point with a phone is not even just a phone in particular, but it's if you're going to study well. So studying does not mean sitting on the couch with a bag of Cheetos, with the TV on, with your phone in your hand, with YouTube playing on the other window. It means sitting in a place that you're not going to fall asleep, that you're not all of that like super comfortable and like ready to be all, chilled out. You need to be able to focus, not look at your phone, not have other distractions. You could study 3 hours by sitting on the couch, letting stuff distract you and not learn a thing. But if you study for an hour by really focusing, you could learn 10 times more. So it's really hard in this day and age when we're so used to just getting bored and like looking at something else, but it's really important that you study well. I hope all these tips helped you with studying for nursing school. They could probably help for any type of studying really, but hopefully they helped you. So go ahead and give it a like, and that's about it. So thank you so much for watching.